Welcome to the Mayor's Show. As always, I think it's another first for us in Bensalem, maybe a second. We're going to talk today about fire rescue. I have with me today our Director of all Public Safety,
Yes,
Bill
sir.
McVey, and I have with me our Fire Chief, Mark.
Antozzeski.
Yeah, see, I didn't want to make a mistake. Antozzeski. So Mark's here, and Mark's been with us almost a year now as fire chief. And we have some announcements we want to talk about, all about a SAFER grant that we accomplished. I think we got it last month, right?
Yes, sir.
And it's we're ready to go with it. And I'll let you talk a little bit, Bill, about how that come about and how we got the grant and what we're doing with it.
Okay. Well, thanks, Mayor, as always, for hosting me and today with Chief Antozzeski. We've been on here a decent amount about police and public safety, but as you always say, equally as important is our ambulance, EMS, and our fire. But this is a huge deal for Bensalem. We got the SAFER grant, which was just awarded to us through FEMA. And what that does, it's going to give us an additional 4 firefighters funded over the next 3 years. So it'll ease the tax burden on the residents of Bensalem. As you're aware, we went through a consolidation process for about 3 years. And in June of 2024, we completed that. So we have our career staff, 222, Bensalem Fire Rescue, and we have...
I just want to interrupt you for a second, Bill. That was a process. It was a long process to get there, seriously.
Very long.
And it took a long time to accomplish that. And I know Mark came in and gave us a hand at that this past year as we gone through that process. So it wasn't like that. It was a process to make sure everybody was in line and everybody was agreeable. So I think we met that.
Yes, Mayor. It was a very long... It started 2022 is when I took over as Public Safety Director. It started a year or so before that. And then it really kicked in 2022. And part of that process was the volunteers recommending that the Township bring on a career fire chief. And after that rigorous process of interviews you and I did, we landed with Mark, who's done an exceptional job.
Yeah, you have, Mark. Thank you.
And that's on tape now, so you officially have done a great job. But what this grant will do now is we work with our volunteer company, BVFD, Bensalem Volunteer Fire Department, every day. Mark works with both entities. Having this additional staff will help meet their needs when they're short-staffed. So our hours will expand a little. We're looking to go hopefully 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. or 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. when it's difficult for the volunteers to get out. So the chief's working with them on the best schedule, but getting this grant will allow us to get 4 more firemen in Bensalem, what we're very excited about, to keep our community safer, and Mark will have more info on that.
Well, stop right there. It is about the community being safe. We talk about that all the time. We're so proud of our police and our EMS and certainly fire. And Mark came along and helped us accomplish that. So turn it over to you, Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Director. The SAFER grant is very important. It's a national grant through FEMA, and it stands for Staffing for Adequate Fire and Emergency Response. They put acronyms on everything at the federal government, as you know. But that grant allows us, in our situation, to hire full-time staff, and some of the SAFER grants are for volunteers for recruitment and retention. Our grant happens to be for staffing, as the Director said. So these 4 new positions that we're going to put on will bring our total staffing up to 12, including myself and other officers. So this will allow us, as the Director said, expand our hours. The volunteers have come to us and say they have a shortage of personnel first thing in the morning and late in the afternoon. So now we'll be able to cover those gaps to help provide extra protection for the township. So we have diligently been working with the volunteers, meet regularly with the Chiefs Association. The Deputy Chief Harris and I are scheduled to meet on at least a monthly basis looking at forecasting for the very near future for our personnel between the volunteers and the paid staff. We started this summer allowing our volunteers our career staff to ride with the volunteers during the day if the volunteer crew is short and we have enough manpower. We call it a combination crew. So we haven't done that in the township before, so that was a big step to making sure that they had a crew during the day and we had a crew of career staff during the day because we work better together when the crews are full. So these are just some of the initiatives that we started this year and we'll continue to work with. But the volunteers have come to us and said, look, we have some issues here, and this is one way for us to help fill those gaps. So this is going to be a very big step for us.
Yeah, and certainly I remember everybody lived here in the old days, you know, and you had a fire company and everybody could respond. And wherever they worked, they let them go and everything. And those days have changed.
Absolutely.
Drastically. And I hope everybody understands that. And certainly, the more manpower we have, the more safe we become.
Certainly.
So I think this is a big step.
Absolutely. I think it's probably an initial step to things that we're going to see over the next probably 5 years into 2030. I think we're going to see a lot of changes. Obviously, as the director said, the last few years have been huge changes. I think it's going to skyrocket over the next 5 years
Yeah,
with different changes within the department.
We have to make sure that we keep people safe, and
Absolutely.
And I think we've been doing that. I really do. I mean, we're trying to put everything together with the volunteers, so that we need them also. So we want to make sure that the combination gives us 24-hour service here.
And I think to that point, Mary, that's why the consolidation was such a big deal for us, to bring the 6 legacy companies together, have leadership come together, and recognize that they were all losing those volunteers. The numbers dwindled like drastically over the last 30 years. So this was the way to keep that volunteer service to survive. Doing the consolidation, adding these career staff is only going to enhance that, make it better, and relieve some of the burden for them during the day. So we're very glad that Mark's doing what he's doing, working with the volunteer chiefs and kind of working together as one team, because they all have the same goal: fire suppression,
Of course.
save lives and keep people safe. So we're very proud of that they can work together so smoothly.
I think a big step was just down at the Union Fire Company. A lot of people thought it was closing, this and that, and we had to listen to a lot of that. It's not closed. It has become part of our ambulatory services, and there'd be a fire truck there so that we never have to worry about flooding or anything, that we can serve the lower end. So that's been all part of this. So that's what we do. We're trying to make it as safe as we can for everybody. And Chief, I don't know, you're on a daily basis with this. Do you see the improvements? Do you see how it's getting better?
I do. And our workforce is very busy with inspections and everything else that we do on top of responding to emergencies. So I think that'll help too. It'll take some of the burden off. We'll still do the same amount of inspections, but we'll have more personnel to be able to do it. So that'll, I think, help in that fashion. But yeah, as you know, you've been in this community for a very long time. Nothing stands still. Everything is changing. So we have to try to keep up with that. And the number of volunteers have reduced. And that's not just here in Bensalem. It's across the country, across the state.
Oh, absolutely.
So
yeah.
we have to make adjustments for the time so we can protect the public.
The commitment I've made since the day I came here is the safety and welfare. That's a commitment. That's where we start, to make sure we have the best police, which incredibly we do. I know in the state, and not internationally credited, for goodness sakes. How many people get that? How many have in the state of Pennsylvania?
17 in Pennsylvania.
In the whole state. And we're one of those. So I'm saying it's so important that we keep all of these safety things together and you work together. Do you might want to talk about that? How you?
Yeah, so the difference I always tell people about Bensalem compared to many municipalities is we have one umbrella, public safety, and that's why I'm public safety director, because we have police, fire, and EMS. So although I came up as a police officer, I have that leadership role to oversee all 3 disciplines to make sure we're all responsive, but most importantly, that we all communicate and work together as one. So when we do our drills at the high school, at the elementary schools, at all these facilities, it's usually police, fire, and EMS working together. So if, God forbid, these emergencies hit, we interwork very well together. And it's a smooth process. And I think that, to me, is what separates us from many other municipalities. And the other thing I'm hoping with this process is we see some more Bensalem volunteer firefighters apply to join us as career firefighters. And Mark will go through that, the process of how they can become a fireman. But it's always great to see kids that came up in Bensalem, maybe went to school here, come back service, police officers, firemen, because they're invested in the community. So I'm hoping that we've inspired some of these young kids out there, these guys and girls, to come out and apply and join us.
Yeah, you might want to talk about that, Mark.
Certainly.
Applications and how people do that.
Yes, sir. I'm part of an organization called the Bucks County Career Fire Chiefs Association. They represent 8 different fire chiefs in the county that have career staff. And the association decided we're going to do one testing process, a consortium similar to what the police chiefs have done in the past. So we are doing that now. We're advertising on our website and other websites. The application process is being done through an organization called firefighter.app.com. You go there and you can register. You go to the tab that says exams. You go down to a space and it says Bucks County Career Fire Chiefs. You can click on that. It give you all the information about the test. The deadline is November the 6th. The test will be on the 11th, and then there's a practical test on the 15th. And then by that following Monday, we'll have a list and we'll start doing our process in our department. We want to hire right away in January. There are 6 departments in that association that all want to hire in 2026. So if an application joins in, they will be eligible for all 6 of those departments. So you take one test, you'd be eligible for 6 different departments in Bucks County. So I think it's a good opportunity for somebody. Again, take one test, you're on all these different lists. The list could be good for up to 2 years, depending on how it works out. This is the first time we've tried this from the fire department standpoint. We seem to be getting a lot of reaction. Currently, we have over 40 applicants so far. So I think that's a good move. The last time we went to hire 2 years ago, we only had 20 applicants. So already we're seeing an increase, and that's going to be beneficial to us. But yes, that's the basic process. It's very simple. Again, firefighterapp.com. You can just go onto that website. The information is there at where it says exams and then Bucks County Chiefs Association. There's a description of the events, a description on how the testing's going to go, the times, the locations, everything. So it's all in one place.
So,
it's
and
a
that's
very
an
good process.
opportunity for Bensalem.
Yes, sir.
That are already, volunteers.
Yes, sir.
To meet the criteria to be in the department. Give you the last word.
I guess I would say, Mayor, like we always do, we thank our volunteers for all their service they give to this community. We thank our career staff and certainly the chief. He's been a saver for me and you to some extent. We were dealing with a lot of this, and Mark came in and has really provided that key leadership point.
We made a good choice, by the way.
I think we did, and he's still here. He stayed
We
with
made a
us,
great
so
choice.
we're pretty happy with that.
Yeah, we made a great choice.
And this will be a nice feather in his cap getting this grant along with us and to lead Bensalem even forward. But we're just really appreciative to have the men and women we have here, volunteer and career, to protect us, and we thank them.
Okay. Chief,
Sir?
great having you aboard, and
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
he's got a good handshake. I love it. I do, that.
Mayor,
And Bill,
Always a
good to
pleasure.
have you here. So don't forget, there'll be, I'm sure you'll see it on the screen, how to apply at Bensalem people for the jobs that are coming up. And they have to apply by the 6th?
The 6th, yes, sir.
By the
4
6th.
p.m. on the 6th.
Okay, so I hope everybody out there gets an opportunity. It's all about Bensalem, the community of first. Till next time, everybody, God bless.